Chris has a microphone, I just have to talk louder, which is great because I have a cold and I'm deaf in one ear, so talking louder is no problem already. So let's look at the agenda for today. Chris?
Well, first introductions. Some of you guys know us, a lot of you don't. Then we go into why should you automate, what are the benefits. Then we like to set up some rules. When we create something like this, we want to go by some rules. Then we give you an overview of the steps that we need to automate. And most importantly, the issues we ran into while creating this stuff. Of course, the demos. And we'll give a sum up of all the things you can get from scripts and use for yourself.
Steal,
yeah. And we also have a version, or Chris actually has a version with that doesn't use Citrix Cloud, just WVD. We're expecting to be SBTSI of 0.20%, which is the Sean Bass talking speed index, so it should be quite normal.
Yeah, easy to follow.
Yeah. Okay, that guy looks like me. In fact, it is me. I work for Consensa in the Netherlands. I usually do designing of EUC environments and the deployment of that. And I've been in this business for about 18 years and slowly moved into the Citrix world.
Yeah, so I started the 1st of November at a new job. I'm now a technology officer at Rawworks. We're a small company, want to go use cutting edge technology for new services and stuff and do consulting. More than 10 years experience in creating and automating EUC environments. And most people know me from my website, Workspace Guru. So, yeah. Also, like Chris, we're both part of the Citrix Technical Advocate. So the next slide. Yeah, why automate? Well, that's actually we always do this slide at the first one. Okay, why should you automate? Well, I think most people already know why you should automate. Because it just it prevents you doing the same stuff over and over again. It makes it redeployable. Do stuff quicker and more consistently. If you have something script, the script runs the same every time. So every time has the same result. And this is the third reason is why we did the script we're going to present today. Is we wanted to create a desktop as a service like solution, but not the black box solution where you just take everything on and here is your desktop. No, our script creates every component and every component is visible and you can manage it and we create a complete solution. But the script delivers a kind of desktop as a service. Yeah, and if you automate stuff, you create time for things that are more fun, like innovation, like looking at intelligent workspace, that kind of stuff. And of course, time for community coming here at the E2. So if I don't automate my job, I would still have to be at my desk, not here. So the rules for the script?
Okay, so the rules of engagement for this script. The primary goal, you can run it from any device, any Windows device. The only requirement is internet connection and at least PowerShell version 5. Well, like I said, scripting language uses PowerShell. Why PowerShell? Because it's the most easy, it's the most readable to me, actually. Then credentials, you of course have various credentials. We connect to Azure, we connect to Citrix Cloud, we connect to My Citrix, and where are those credentials coming from? So most of them are asked, and only the Citrix Cloud part is in the script itself.
Yeah.
The script must run with minimum user input. What it actually does, it asks all the input in the beginning, and then it goes from there. So when it's up, when it's actually running, it doesn't ask you any more than that. Of course, clean up after yourself. So sometimes you need to create a storage account in Azure, for example. You use it, and then you dispose of it. This is of course a proof of concept. We don't intend to create a solution that's usable in production. It just was up to us to see, can we do this? Can we make it work?
We like to set challenges for ourselves. So, okay, we want to present at the next E2. So what can we do? Okay, let's set a challenge. Okay, is it possible to completely automate a cloud connector, a VDA and all that stuff and end up with a desktop. And so that was just a challenge, and we have to reach the end goal by any means necessary. So it's really a proof of concept. It's really a challenge. It's not something like, okay, here is the script, go use it in your production every day. But the script does contain a lot of PowerShell stuff that you could use for your production script.
Yeah. So basically, it was to go from nothing to a working desktop that runs on Azure in combination with Citrix Cloud.
Yeah, yeah, and again, the top one is the really challenging one. So we're not running on a domain joined machine in the domain where we're going to create a desktop. We're running on just an internet device. Okay, so we have to use the APIs and all that kind of stuff. So which steps do we need to automate to get to the desktop?
So, of course, you need to sign into Citrix Cloud, because if you don't, you can't do anything over there. Create a resource location that the Cloud Connector uses. You need to sign into Azure. You need to create a Cloud Connector VM. You need to download the Cloud Connector software and install it. We need to create the Windows 10 multi-user VM. We need to download the VDA and install it. Then, of course, the machine catalog and delivery group, and at the end, assign users to them. So at the end of the script, you actually have a URL you can use and an Active Directory group that you need to be in to use the desktop.
Yeah. So the most fun thing I always think about in these challenges that we set for ourselves is, of course, the issues. So what are the problems we ran into? Well, first off, this was a problem. We wanted to do as minimum user input as possible can. And we already need the input for the My Citrix credentials to download your VDA, because the VDA is a credential wall at Citrix. You cannot just download a VDA. So you already fill in those credentials, and we want to use those credentials to connect to Citrix Cloud and then run the API. Well, that's not allowed. You need to create an API access key. So if you go to Identity and Access Management in Citrix Cloud, you can go to API access and create a key. The key will be downloaded in a CSV file, and in your CSV file you'll find the password and a unique secret and all that kind of stuff. But we want to try to automate this process. So use the API of the website that generates the key to generate the key. Yeah, we looked in all. I usually use the Firefox web development tool to see all the API calls that are going on to the website, and it has a nice tab for parameters, so you see all the parameters that's going back and forth. We also looked at it with Postman and stuff, and we could not get the login into Citrix Cloud throughout just credentials fixed in time, at least, to end our challenge in time to do this. So one thing you need to do with hand is create this API key.
Yeah. So, like we said, we tried to automate it.
Yeah.
We spent a lot of time, but unfortunately we didn't have enough time to finish it. But I'm guessing it can be done, but it will be completely custom and will be really supported by Citrix. So,
and because we use the API key, it does have a pro, and that is that the script is now redeployable. So you just one time create this key, enter that in our script, and you can run the script as many times as you want. And it still uses every time the API key. Also, if you want to delete or want to make sure that the script cannot use anymore, the only thing you have to do is go to this website and delete the key. And then the script doesn't function anymore. So that's also a pro. If you want to have more security, then you don't have to change your password. Yeah, and this was actually the biggest issue. As we said, we wanted to run our script on a machine only connected to the internet, not in the same domain on which we are running scripts. So how do you do that? You know, are we gonna create machines in Azure and then open up those machines to the internet with a public IP address? No, you don't want to do that. That's not safe. Or do you want to make a management VM or something on which you try anything? Well, We also looked at Azure Automation. Okay, can you use Azure Automation? Well, then we have the problem that Azure Automation requires a hybrid worker on the machine, so that must be installed on the machine, and you have to configure your Azure Automation. So anyone who wants to use a script must have Azure Automation configured, or we have to do that in a script for them. That's not what we wanted to do. So what we came up with is we use a storage account. So we create a new storage account for the complete deployment from with PowerShell, and we upload the scripts to a storage blob, and then we run the scripts as extensions on the Azure VMs. This works, but it's not pretty. It's really, if you ever, anyone here done some things with script extensions on Azure machines? Well, okay. It really sucks because it only tells you the script has run. It doesn't tell you if the script has run correctly or anything. It just, alright, I did it, great.
It's basically just fire and forget.
Yeah, so it's kind of like doing PowerShell with Ansible and stuff. You have to build in that it gets response back and that kind of stuff. Or just test it. Okay, every time it goes okay. So that's what we actually did. We just test it, and it works.
Yeah, we also had an option to create a public IP address for VMs, which wouldn't be a good idea from a security standpoint.
Yeah.
So we decided against it.
Yeah. So another issue we had was connecting Azure and Citrix Cloud together. As far as we could tell, we could not get that with scripts, because you get this screen when you create, when you're in virtual apps and desktops in the studio in Citrix Cloud, and you're going to create a connection to Azure. It will show you this screen that you have to authenticate at Azure. So I did it once manually, like you said, Renee, you do something manually and then you try to figure it out. So I did it, and what I saw was it creates an enterprise application in your Azure AD. Okay, well, that's easy. There's a PowerShell commandlet for that. So I did that. But then you see that it creates API rights. There's no PowerShell script to create API rights in an enterprise app yet. But someone has done some things with API. I got that half working. But then you get to this one. There's a button called Grant Permissions to those APIs you just set, and it takes you back to this one, to the sign-in screen. So someone had figured something out with APIs and also doing Postman and all that kind of stuff that it worked, but Microsoft had changed the portal and his script didn't work anymore. So again, what we did, we said, okay, our challenge was just, we want to get from 0 to a desktop any means possible. So what did we do? Well, we don't power manage our VDA. So it's just an Azure machine, and it can reach the Azure machine because it's in the domain in which the Cloud Connector is, but it's not power managed and no machine creation in it. So if you want to do that, yeah, that's something you have to figure out on top of it. And it's also with this one. There is a quick deploy option that you don't have to use Studio. And it has an API from Citrix. Citrix also has an API website where you can find all the info on that API. And then you see here, down here, that's all the values you need to fill in. And those are this big. You need to fill in all those values. And one of the values, you don't know if you can see it on the bottom, is Azure Subscription ID. So I was like, okay, I'll only have to fill in my Azure Subscription ID, and it will make that connection for me. No, this only works if you first also manually in quick deploy authenticated your Azure to Citrix Cloud, and then you can enter your subscription ID in this API call, and it will work. Well, at least it should work, but we tried out these APIs. And we got the response from, okay, it's missing this parameter. Okay, we're gonna look to all those parameters. It's not there. So what is it missing? We got strange.
There's a lot of information on the development Citrix side about this API, and it's actually pretty well done, but it isn't complete yet. So, like in this case, it asked for variables that weren't in the documentation, so we didn't know what to put in. And so you could probably do something with it, but we didn't get to manage to get it working this time. So
yeah. So that were the issues that we got. So now time for demos. Chris?
okay, all the requirements. Like I said, we want to go from 0 to working desktop, but actually it's from 1 to working desktop, because you need a domain controller, and one of the important things, it needs to be running. We tried the script many times, and a lot of times it isn't working. Oh, our domain controller isn't running. Because it's his personal Azure account, and we didn't want to make him broke. So we need to shut down every time we're done.
I got a Visual Studio subscription, but it's just, you know, the 150 credits a month, so we have to be careful.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the secure client we mentioned. So actually, you have the client secret, you have the client ID, and you have your the third one, like the subscription ID for Citrix Cloud.
Customer.
The customer ID is actually over there. This is ID there. You need to also put that in, and you can use those three numbers or three variables to connect to Citrix Cloud to your Citrix Cloud account. Well, before we run the script, you can see we're trying to log into a workspace over there, Citrix workspace, and it gives that username and password, but then in Dutch. And the machine catalogs and delivery groups. We use the prefix script, and as you can see, they're not there yet. So just to show, before we ran the script, the catalog and delivery group weren't created yet. Then the variables. I'm waiting now for someone to grab out.
Quick, take a picture of our secret key.
No, you don't need to, because these secret clients don't exist anymore.
So that's the great thing, when you use that secret key, you can just go into the Citrix Cloud website and press delete and share it with everyone, because they're not there anymore.
Yeah. So that's why it isn't blurred. Then I divide them up in user variables and non-user variables. User variables you need to change, because they're specific for your environment. The recent publication, the VNet name and the subnet name will not be created. And the other things will be created if they don't exist.
Yeah, and again, here's also with the script prefix.
Yeah, these non-user variables you don't actually need to change, but you might want to, because or else your environment is named exactly like that.
Yeah, and also the specs for the machine if you want a bigger cloud connector.
Yeah, they're in the template file.
Yeah.
So it's like a big template file with all the variables, and we put them in a paste bin. Because it would be easier, or else the script would be really long.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is the script. We have a demo of the script. Again, it's I already told this at the last thing we spoke, but it's more watching paint dry is more interesting than running this script.
Yeah. So this is the time for you guys to grab a beer.
This script, it takes 40 minutes, so we're going to take our next slot also. Now we sped it up, first we sped it up about 100 times. I have to enter my Azure credentials and stuff, and later it will be sped up 1,000 times. One thing, when you use PowerShell code, so Visual Studio Code, the Azure pop-up that you just saw, sometimes it comes behind Visual Studio Code.
And it was interesting because PowerShell ICE didn't do that.
No. IC doesn't do that.
It's just a Visual Studio Code thing.
So as you can see, we now get questions about all kinds of credentials. So what do you want to be credentials for the Azure machine local admins? What are your My Citrix credentials? What are all kind of credentials?
So it requires My Citrix to download the VDA.
Yeah.
The Cloud Connector you can download without an account. Of course you need Azure because you want to create Azure VMs in your environment, and Citrix Cloud for obvious reasons.
Yeah. And yeah, the script will run. Chris has also added now a timer to the script in the last version that we publicly published. So you get at the end a timer for, okay, the whole deployment took, I think, about 40 minutes or something, running on the machine. Yeah, and it runs. I mean, you can look at it, but of course, I'm gonna end it. Okay, but this is more fun. So what does it did after the script is created? So first, in the first slide, before the script, we only had the domain controller and it was running. So now I got a script CC, Cloud Connector. I got a script VDA, and they're both running. If we're going to go look in Citrix Cloud, I have a resource location. And as you can see, there is a Cloud Connector. It gives a warning because we only have one. And Citrix warns you have to have two actually in production. But at the Cloud Connector it's also green, so there is connection. In the machine catalog, we have a machine catalog called script, just like we said in our script. We have a delivery group called script. And a user can now, first of all, sign in, because it can authenticate to the domain controller through the Cloud Connector. And it gets a desktop Windows 10 multi-user. We use Windows 10 multi-user because we could. We were on Azure. And using WVD is great in the latest trend, of course. So, for a user perspective, after the script is run, well, I think everyone has probably seen this when you use Citrix Cloud. But let's show it. You can sign in. It now accepts the password. I got a desktop.
This is the fastest thing ever, but the goal was to get it working.
Yeah, so we really went from nothing, then running the script, and we have a desktop. And we used the Windows 10 multi-user image with Office 365 already in the image, so you could already start using Office. No profiles are configured and that stuff, of course. It's just a VDA on the image.
And yes, we are pretending people only use Windows and Office and nothing else.
Yeah. So that's what the user sees. It gets his Windows 10 desktop. So now the most important part of our presentation, I think, stuff to steal for your own script.
Yeah, because usually when you want to do something from script, you usually Google it first, and you find an example, and you try to convert it to your own environment. So what kinds of stuff can you grab from the script? It's already public. We showed you the URL in a moment.
Yeah.
Of course, importing and installing the Azure modules. Well, for obvious reasons, you can just download them and install them on your machine. It signs into Azure with that pop-up. With Visual Studio Code, you usually get behind the screen. Then create a storage account in Azure and get the storage keys you need to use to talk to them. Create the storage containers, the Azure VMs, so the Cloud Connector and the Windows 10 multi-user. Yeah. It runs the script on the Azure VMs with the custom extensions we mentioned.
Yeah, also just the storage account and the extensions and stuff, we also clean that up. So when the whole script is done, you have the desktop. What Chris said during the rules part, clean up as much as we can. So we removed the storage account where we downloaded the VDA and we removed the scripts and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so what it actually does, it downloads, for example, the VDA, it downloads it to the machine and then uploads it to the storage blob, yeah. But it removes it after that. Then the bearer token you need for Citrix Cloud. So you use the three variables you mentioned to get a bearer token, and then you use the bearer token to talk to Citrix Cloud. We actually stole it from Eltro. Eltro is here, but not in the room right now. So
if you don't know who Eltro is, it's the guy who looks like Jesus.
Yeah. IT Jesus.
IT Jesus.
Then create a resource location. Actually, we managed to reverse engineer that by looking at the post and get commands. Actually, it was quite easy, just like 3 lines of code. Then create the machine catalog and delivery group. The way we actually do that is by running it as a custom extension inside the Cloud Connector, or else we couldn't get it to work.
Yes, so we used the PowerShell Cloud SDK on the Cloud Connector with the script extension, creating those delivery groups. So it's a bit difficult, but it works. And one thing with that is also with the correct resource zone, because our Citrix Cloud tenant that we used is used by all CTAs. So we have to connect it to our right Cloud Connector and resource zone. So that's also a thing that's in the script, how to get that resource location that you created in Citrix Cloud, how you can get that in Studio.
Yeah. So we have a cloud subscription that we use between all the CTAs. It's actually quite useful to have something like that.
Yeah.
And then of course, like you mentioned, we clean up the storage account after.
Yeah. We also do domain join for Azure machines. It's a function. Download and install the Cloud Connector software. Download and install the Citrix Remote SDK, because we need that on the Cloud Connector. And download and install the Citrix VDA. Or at least the download VDA part, Ryan Butler has already wrote a script of that, so we just use this script. The install part we did ourselves. Not really, I think most people have automated their VDAs. Create and remove those Azure script extensions and upload and download stuff from Azure blobs, and much more is in that script. So this is actually what we're presenting. Not that complete solutions, but hey, look at this. This is all in the script. Use it, steal it. You don't have to look, figure the whole stuff out.
And correct us where you can. We're not pretending we're experts at PowerShell like Guy over here. But, if you have any suggestions to make it better, or make stuff work, or create a secure client like we mentioned, we're open for it.
Yeah, there is actually there is a forum. We did the presentation, as you see today. We also did it for CUGC as a webinar, and CUGC kindly made a section on the forum for our script. And if you have comments about the script stuff, you can put it in the forum, and we will be try to look at the forum as much as possible to answer some questions.
So whatever it is, so suggestions or recommendations or hate mail, give it to us.
Hate mail to him. So what about only Windows Virtual Desktop? Because our presentation is called Automating Citrix Cloud with Windows Virtual Desktop. And as we all know, Windows Virtual Desktop is not only the Windows 10 multi-user OS, it is, of course, the whole service suite that Microsoft now delivers from Azure. So I also write for TechTarget on Search Virtual Desktop. I have written a script for them that can create the host pool and all that kind of stuff for Windows Virtual Desktop. So the only thing you need to do is enter a few credential variables, and it will create your whole virtual desktop farm. So if you want to do that, that's all. So we have one slide about it, but just Google it, and you can find the whole script that creates your whole Windows Virtual Desktop environment. So for now, any questions? Or are we all just really hungry and want to go lunch?
I am.
Oh yeah, the last thing, the blog post is so now on my CUGC. It's still also on the front page. I think the second link on the front page now in the feed. So you can check those scripts there. And I think in the coming week we will post them also on our own websites.
Chris.
Yeah. Which one?
Sorry, I'm big.
Remind me to add a QR code to it. Yeah, that redirects to something entirely.
Just rickrolling people.
There is no script either. This whole presentation was to be click on the link. That's the link. That would be great for the next one. So, and also, how many of you are using Citrix Cloud already, or have tried to use it?
Tried it or production? Who has tried it?
In production?
And who used it in production?
Not in production.
Okay.
Well, what do you think of it in production?
It was fine, but we had no previous installation, so it was very clean slate for us, so we had no on-premises Citrix. It was the first test and the easiest way to try it and to use it.
Okay.
But it's working fine. We are looking to make it work with Ansible for some automation, but we could use some PowerShell scripting tools. We'll take a look.
Okay, I saw another hand. Citrix Cloud?
Yeah. I mean, Citrix Cloud also is a mess.
Well, I wouldn't say mess, it just isn't there yet fully. It works, but isn't fully developed yet.
I think the problem is... Sorry.
by the way, the fact is it's just an on-premise which has been done on Azure, and the server behind do not have enough resources. I mean, I got an issue with the customer. I need to work with DevOps in Bangalore because it was 2 vCPU, 8 GB of RAM for all the infrastructure components.
No.
Yes, and it's also it's like a solution that's been converted to cloud, and it should be built for cloud from the ground up. It's a bit like a convertible car. You need a convertible car that's built as a convertible car, and not one that has a roof chopped off.
Yeah, my thing is with Citrix Cloud is it's really a solution where everything is integrated. But I don't know if any one of you actually has tried that full Workspace Premium Plus, what they're talking about, where we have integrated share file, we have integrated this and this and this, and then try using it as a user, because, okay, I can start my desktop, okay, that works, but now I want to do something share file. First I have to authenticate my OneDrive to the share file, and I want to do SharePoint. When you go in that area, that you want to use the full suite, I think that I personally, with the customer, had a lot of trouble because clients don't want to understand.
Yeah. So basically, we're saying it's okay, but it isn't there yet.
When developing the script, did you find or did you face any issue with the, how could I say, the VM-based studio you have in Citrix Cloud? You know, it put a VM with a studio within for you to manage your resources. And Citrix told us a few weeks ago that they will develop a web-based studio for Citrix Cloud. And did you face any issue with this feature?
No, I can't say that we have. Of course, we don't use Studio because we don't build a script.
That's
the whole point. We don't want to use Studio.
You're using the SDK, but you have the machine to be boot up. The machine carrying Studio, I mean, within your Citrix Cloud.
Yeah.
It boots up for you a VM with Studio. You don't see it, but it boots up.
Yeah, and it works horrible, right? But, but I know that if you talk to Citrix guys, that is going away. The Studio should be more HTML in the future, but that is a horrible experience. But our script doesn't use that experience.
Okay, but to answer your question, we didn't have any problem with it.
Right.
Well, our script uses the PowerShell SDK, and that just connects to your delivery controller in the cloud. So.
And not the studio that embarks your environment. Okay. Thank you.
So I think we're done way ahead of time, so we can get some lunch.
No, it's finished already.
Nice.
Lunch is finished.
Just